Welcome to Famous Faces Scoop TV. Today we're diving into the latest political showdown that's got everyone talking. Buckle up as we break down the heated exchange between two of the world's most famous faces and leaders, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and none other than US President Donald Trump. Was it a power move, a bold statement, or just classic Trump keeping it real? We've got all the juicy details, the drama, and the reactions you won't want to miss. Hit that like and subscribe button, because at Famous Faces Scoop TV, we spill the tea on the biggest names, politics, Hollywood, and beyond. Let's get into it. The year is 2025. The world watches as Ukraine enters its fourth year of conflict. The situation is dire, with no clear end in sight. The international community is on edge, hoping for a resolution, but bracing for the worst. A brutal and bloody war, ignited by Russia's invasion, continues to rage. Millions have been displaced. Thousands more lie dead. The humanitarian crisis is unprecedented, with countless families torn apart and entire cities reduced to rubble. In this climate of ongoing crisis, a crucial meeting unfolds between two world leaders, US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The world holds its breath as these two influential figures come together to discuss the future. The stakes are incredibly high. This isn't just another diplomatic meeting. It's a pivotal moment that could shape the geopolitical landscape for years to come. The decisions made here will have far-reaching consequences. The future of US-Ukraine relations hangs in the balance. Both nations have much to gain, but also much to lose. The outcome of this meeting could either strengthen their alliance or drive a wedge between them. The meeting, held on February 28, 2025, was planned against a backdrop of tentative ceasefire negotiations. These negotiations are fragile, with both sides wary of making concessions, but desperate for peace. Beyond the immediate need for peace, the meeting was also meant to address another pressing issue, the potential exploitation of Ukraine's war-torn but resource-rich land. The country's natural resources are a double-edged sword, offering both hope for economic recovery and a potential source of further conflict. Billions of dollars are at stake, and both nations have a vested interest in the outcome. Economic negotiations are just as critical as the discussions on peace, with both leaders looking to secure the best possible deal for their respective countries. The world watches, waits, and hopes for a resolution that will bring stability and prosperity to a region long plagued by turmoil. The meeting was held in the Oval Office, a space typically reserved for diplomacy and statesmanship. However, the atmosphere was anything but cordial. Tensions were high from the outset. The meeting, originally scheduled for a longer duration, was abruptly cut short after a mere 50 minutes. Reports suggest a torrent of arguing, finger-pointing, and outright fury. Oh, the drama! Despite the weighty topics on the agenda, no concrete agreements were reached. The meeting, meant to signal unity and cooperation, instead laid bare the deep fissures existing within the US-Ukraine relationship. The ceasefire, a beacon of hope for a war-torn nation, remained unsigned. The exploitation of Ukraine's resources, a potential lifeline for its ravaged economy, remained a point of contention. Zelensky arrived at the Oval Office not in a suit and tie, as is customary for such high-profile diplomatic events, but in a simple black military sweater. This choice of attire was not just a fashion statement but a deliberate message. This seemingly minor detail sparked controversy and fueled speculation about disrespect and a calculated snub on Zelensky's part. The media quickly picked up on this, with various outlets debating the implications of his wardrobe choice. Some commentators, like reporter Brian Glenn, were quick to criticize Zelensky's choice of attire, deeming it inappropriate for the Oval Office. They argued that it showed a lack of respect for the formal setting and the traditions it represents. Zelensky, however, defended his choice. He explained that his attire was a reflection of the ongoing conflict in his homeland and a symbol of solidarity with his people. He stated that he would don a suit when victory was achieved in his homeland. This statement was meant to convey his commitment to his country and the seriousness of the situation. This explanation, while poignant, did little to quell the controversy. Critics continued to argue that the Oval Office demanded a certain level of decorum, regardless of the circumstances. A U.S. official went so far as to suggest that Zelensky's choice of clothing was a harbinger of the friction to come. This comment highlighted the underlying tensions between the two nations. This seemingly insignificant detail underscored the deep-seated tensions simmering beneath the surface. It served as a reminder that in diplomacy, even the smallest details can carry significant weight. The meeting was not merely a clash over the present, but also a reckoning with the past. Old wounds were reopened, and past grievances were brought to the forefront. Zelensky, in a pointed remark, suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin had reneged on prisoner exchange agreements during Trump's first term as president. This accusation, harkening back to a past marked by political turmoil and accusations of collusion, cast a long shadow over the present meeting. It served as a stark reminder of the complex web of history, mistrust, and unfulfilled promises that these two leaders carried with them into the Oval Office. A war of words. Vance enters the fray. The meeting took an even more acrimonious turn with the entrance of U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Vance, known for his often controversial stances, did little to ease the tension. He publicly accused Zelensky of disrespect, adding fuel to the fire already ignited by the Ukrainian president's attire. But Vance's criticisms went far beyond matters of protocol. He launched into a scathing critique of the Ukrainian military, questioning its capabilities, and casting doubt on its ability to effectively combat Russian forces. These remarks further inflamed the situation, pushing the already strained meeting closer to the brink. Javelins and sheep, comparing support for a nation at war. Trump, never one to shy away from confrontation, joined Vance in mocking Zelensky. He made a particularly callous remark, speculating about a bomb landing on a journalist's head. This comment, seemingly made in jest, showcased a shocking lack of sensitivity given the deadly realities faced by journalists covering the conflict in Ukraine. Trump then contrasted his administration's support for Ukraine with that of his predecessor, Barack Obama. He boasted about providing Javelin anti-tank missiles, while derisively referring to Obama's aid as sheep. This comparison, meant to highlight his supposed strength on the world stage, only served to further belittle Zelensky and trivialize the sacrifices made by the Ukrainian people. A rushed exit. The meeting's abrupt end. The meeting, already fraught with tension and disagreement, ultimately ended in an abrupt and unceremonious fashion. Zelensky, after enduring a barrage of insults and accusations, was effectively shown the door. Reports suggest that he was ignominiously kicked out of the White House, a humiliating end to an already disastrous meeting. The image of Zelensky being rushed out of the White House stood in stark contrast to the carefully orchestrated pomp and circumstance that typically accompanies such high-level diplomatic engagements. It served as a visual representation of the complete breakdown in communication and the utter lack of agreement between the two leaders. A message of gratitude, a cloud of uncertainty. Despite the contentious meeting and his unceremonious exit, Zelensky took to social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, to express his gratitude to the United States for its support. His message was clear and concise, thanking the U.S. for its unwavering assistance during these challenging times. This message, seemingly at odds with the events that had just transpired, raised eyebrows and fueled speculation about Zelensky's true feelings. The whole world wonders if this was a genuine sentiment or a strategic move to maintain diplomatic relations. Was this a genuine expression of gratitude or a calculated move to appease a volatile ally? The diplomatic chess game was in full swing, and every move was being scrutinized by both allies and adversaries. Whatever the reasoning, Zelensky's message did little to alleviate the growing sense of unease in Kyiv. The city's residents and officials were left in a state of heightened anxiety, unsure of what the future held. Ukrainian officials, witnessing the public and humiliating dressing down their president received, were left to grapple with the very real possibility that U.S. military aid, so crucial to their continued resistance, might soon dwindle or disappear altogether. The stakes were higher than ever, and the uncertainty was palpable. The road ahead, U.S.-Ukraine relations in the balance. The 50-minute showdown between Trump and Zelensky was a diplomatic disaster by any measure. It achieved nothing in the way of tangible results. The ceasefire remained unsigned. The issue of Ukraine's resources remained unresolved. More importantly, it exposed the fragility of the U.S.-Ukraine relationship and raised serious concerns about the future of American support for Ukraine's fight for survival. As the world watches, the future of Ukraine hangs precariously in the balance. the actions or inactions of these two world leaders will have far-reaching consequences, not only for the people of Ukraine, but for the geopolitical landscape of the entire world. Thanks for coming by, my famous fam, and remember, hold on to your MAGA hats and let's make America great again. In the president's voice, until next time. Bisous bisous.